And I think we are recording. So everybody, welcome to the Region 11 virtual state meeting here on Zoom. We're glad to see all of you. We are going to start this evening out just as PATH has done with a lot of their great webinars. And the first thing we want to start is by finding out who is on the call. So Chrissy has got a poll for us. Where are you? Where are you from? We've got 36 of us on the call, I believe. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to get to that. Most of us have voted. Still waiting on a couple of you guys. If you can find the poll there on your screen, looking at where you guys are from. Most people looks like are from Region 11, many from Region 11 Northern California, a good handful from Southern California, and a few also from Central California. And we do have 3 from outside the region. Welcome.
We're gonna go ahead and close the polling in a few seconds. Get your vote in. And there are the results. You may be able to see them.
Awesome. So lots of Northern California folks. Welcome, everybody. Okay. The next poll that we have is your primary role at your center. So I know many of us have got many hats to wear at the centers that we're with, but your primary role at the center that you're with. I think that's most of us.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and close the polling in a few seconds.
Okay, most of us are instructors here. We've got quite a few center admins as well, and then kind of a smattering of program director, program staff outside of instructors or administration. We've got a couple volunteers. Thank you, volunteers, and a few that designated other. Okay. Got quite a mix out here. Fabulous. Okay, Chrissy, can we close these? Okay, so we are going to move on to our very first activity or our first game. The first game we're going to do is I Spy. So if everybody could please switch to gallery view to give you as many frames as you can on your screen. And also if you can open your chat, that will be of benefit to you as we're I Spying here. The prize for this is going to be a pair of wonderful boot socks that Jen McWhorter, our Northern California region rep, has secured. They're really cute. I'll show you guys a picture when I start screen sharing, but they're a pair of boot socks. So what we're looking for is the first person to put their answer in the chat with the correct answer, and you guys will get mailed a pair of really cute boot socks. So the first thing, if you guys are all in gallery view, the first thing that I can spy among all of us is a vineyard. If you'll type in the user or the participant who has a vineyard. And not only has Jen secured these really cute boot socks for us, she is also going to be kind of monitoring the chat for our prizes this evening. So Jen, do we have a winner? Yes, she says yes. Okay. Can you see who it is, Jen? The winner of the first pair. We've got 4 to give away, so don't worry if you're not number 1.
Yeah, the winner I see is Darlene Harmon.
Darlene, congratulations. Courtney Malore is our communications chair, everybody, and she has got a green screen of a beautiful vineyard in her background today. Okay, so we'll do another round. I know we're all kind of getting warmed up here. So another round of I Spy, and there's actually a couple of different ones of these, I think. So in your gallery view, if you'll swipe through and find somebody with yellow flowers in the background, a beautiful bouquet of yellow flowers.
Nicole, we may have a problem because I actually
Oh.
see two people with yellow
Okay.
flowers.
Okay. Do we, are they both correct? Are we getting answers of two correct? Okay.
I think we might need a tiebreaker
Oh my stars.
between those two people.
Okay. So should I do a different one then, gals? Okay. All right. So instead of that, because I know Lauren and Cole, when you guys both logged on, I saw one of you and I thought, oh, I'll put yellow flowers. And oh man, there's two of you. So glad you guys have something so lovely to look at in your frames there. Okay. The other one I suppose that we'll do is there's a big lamp that I can see in somebody else's frame, a very large lamp. Has that gone away? Ooh. Do we have anybody, Jen?
All right, so let me ask you, who is it that you said you think it is? And I'll tell you who's the first person to write that.
I saw it on Janet's iPad.
Yeah, so we have Christy Newstrom is our winner.
Oh, Christy, congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, before I start sharing my screen, I think we've got a couple of people in the waiting room, so I want to make sure we've got everybody here before we start. Okay. Okay, folks. Okay, I'm going to start sharing my screen and we will get to some introductions of our region leadership team. Those are the folks we told you would be meeting here on the Zoom here. So I do want to show you guys first the boot socks that we'll have mailed out to those of you who are winning the I Spies. So these are the cute little boot socks. Can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, these really cute little boot socks with the giraffes on them is the little I Spy gift. So we're excited about those. Jen, thank you for securing those for us. I do want to spend some time talking a little bit about our region leadership team. So as a whole, the region leadership team gives a voice to local members and provides regional educational opportunities. So this presentation that Dr. Cherie will be giving, or Dr. Cherie Page will be giving, does count for CR credits for certified professionals with PATH International. So that's part of what we do. And we do work as a cohesive unit. So your region rep is Caitlin Seward. I'm not sure that she's on the call just yet, and I won't have anybody shout themselves out because I know we have to go back to gallery view for that. But Caitlin Seward is our region rep. She is also the program director at Rains in Fallbrook. That's here in Southern California. She is a therapeutic writing instructor there, and her contact information is listed on the screen. So if you have a general question about Region 11 or something that you need to take up with the PATH office that you're not sure who to contact, you could sure reach out to Caitlin and she could help you. She is the region's voice to PATH International, and she's actually on a call right now with the PATH office with her other region reps around the world. So she is there doing that. She'll be joining us, I believe, a little later. She designs and implements an annual membership outreach plan and financial plan. So she's kind of our head honcho here in Region 11. In Northern California, of course, being such a large state, the state of California is actually broken up into 3 different states or areas. So the Northern California state chair is Jen McWhorter, also our prize handler this evening. She oversees the facilities in California from Gilroy all the way up to the Oregon border here in California. She is also the head instructor at Giant Steps Therapeutic Equestrian Center in Petaluma. She is a CTRI, an ESMHL, and a mentor, and her contact information is listed there on the screen. So if you are a member or a center or affiliated with a center in Northern California, somewhere between Gilroy and Oregon, Jen is your point person. And the state chairs, we'll see a couple of them here this evening. State chairs promote growth, education, and involvement in the industry within their assigned areas, and help coordinate assigned areas into effective networking systems. So hopefully by now you have heard from Jen if you're in that Northern California area, if you've needed something, and she is the gal to touch base with. In Central California, I am here in Central California. I represent the area from approximately Los Angeles to Gilroy. There's not too many of us, I wouldn't say, in the Central California area, but I am the Central California State Chair. I am also the Director of Services at Happy Trails Riding Academy. We are here in Tulare, right in the middle of the state. If you folded it either direction, we'd be in the middle. I am a CTRI and ESMHL, and my contact information is there on the screen as well. My cell phone number and my Happy Trails email. I will say my Happy Trails email, the last I checked, is listed incorrectly on the PATH website. It's listed as a .org. It is a .com, so if you need something from me via email, please make sure it's a .com. The next state chair is the Southern California State Chair. I've seen Lauren on the call. She was one of the gals with yellow flowers in the background. Lauren Tuttle is our Southern California State Chair and takes care of all of the centers and members there from the Mexican border all the way up to Los Angeles. We kind of share Los Angeles because there are so many of you in that area. She is an advanced therapeutic riding instructor and a mentor, and her contact information is listed on the screen as well. So if you're in Southern California, Lauren Tuttle is your gal. Okay, moving on to other states in the region. Kat O'Brien, I did see, is on the call this evening. She is our Nevada State Chair. She is also the program director at Kids and Horses in Minden, Nevada, and she is a therapeutic riding instructor herself. If you need anything in Nevada, her contact information is listed there, her phone number and her email. And Chrissy, you guys have seen Chrissy this evening. She is our Hawaii State Chair. She is the program director at Haku Baldwin Center in Makawao, Hawaii. And I believe she told me that's on Maui. She is a CTRI there and a mentor as well. She has her contact information listed, and she's also a fabulous techie gal helping out with our presentation this evening. So if you need anything in Hawaii, she is your go-to. We've got a couple other folks from the region leadership team that I want to highlight. Courtney Malore with the winery or the vineyard in her background is our communications chair. She is also the therapeutic riding program manager at the Helen Woodward Animal Center here in Rancho Santa Fe, California. She is an advanced CTRI, an ESMHL, and a mentor, and her contact information is listed there as well. So you'll see her a lot on Facebook. She facilitates the sharing of resources, education, ideas, and information among the members and centers, and from PATH to the membership. So you'll see her on Facebook often, and she also puts together the wonderful newsletters that we have go out quarterly. The final person on the region leadership team that I want to call attention to is Alicia Rowe. Alicia was previously our region representative, the position that Caitlin now holds, but Alicia has stayed on as our treasurer. So she does all things budgetary and finance for us. She is a therapeutic riding instructor, and she is in Southern California, and her contact information is there on the screen as well. Okay, so next thing we are going to do is a door prize, and I do want you guys to see what they are. So door prize number 1 is we're going to do a question, and so I will have you guys submit the answer to that question in the chat. The correct answer, and it's not first, those will be randomly selected in the chat there, but put the correct answer in the chat for a chance to win your choice of show shirts. So there's a long sleeve version here and a short sleeve. These are courtesy of Caitlin at Rains at their tack shop. So you do have a choice of long sleeve or short sleeve. They are ladies shirts. So if we have any gentlemen on here, this is a ladies show shirt. So you'll have your choice of that long sleeve or short sleeve, as well as a $100 gift certificate to Malibu 5-Star Naturals. Malibu 5-Star Naturals is, they have it's a company that provides horse and horse people products. And Jen has spoken highly of particularly their foot scrub and other self-care items on their website. So for a chance to win that, please drop your answer to the following question in the chat. In which year was PATH International, formerly NARA, founded? And Jen, I don't have chat while I'm sharing my screen, so I'm going to count on you to let me know if we've got some answers rolling in. Yes. Okay. Can I share the answer, Jen? Oh, you're on mute, Jen.
Go ahead, and I am going to pull out the winner in a hat.
Okay. PATH was founded in 1969. So for those of you who went to Denver last year, we celebrated the 50th anniversary. So this year is 51 years. That's 1969. So I'll let Jen kind of draw those out of a hat here. And I'm going to go to the second door prize just to introduce it. So our second door prize, we'll do the same kind of a thing. You guys will drop your answer into the chat and Jen will draw them out of a hat. So the second door prize is a classic equine top load hay bag. It's this nice kind of chocolate brown print here. A $25 gift certificate to Freedom Rider. They've got a ton of good stuff on their website. And another $100 gift certificate to Malibu 5-Star Naturals. So that's what we're looking for in the second door prize. But Jen, do we have a winner for door prize number 1? Oh, she's got her hat. She's ready. And you're muted.
Okay, the winner is Wanda.
Yay, Wanda. Okay, Wanda, so you will send an email to Jen at giantstepswriting.org, Jen?
Yeah, I'm going to email it to her.
Okay, perfect. So you'll follow up with her, Wanda, but congratulations. For door prize number 2, we'll do the same thing. And here is the question. Which states and regions of the world are included in PATH's Region 11?
So seeing lots of answers.
Okay. Do we still have some rolling in, or can I share our correct answers?
They're still rolling in.
Okay.
All right, I say we call it.
Okay, I'm going to share the correct answers. There's quite a few correct answers here. And this image comes from the PATH website. So in Region 11, we have California, Hawaii, Nevada, Asia, all of Asia, and the Pacific as well. And I realized, Chrissy, that Hawaii is not smushed anywhere on this map. So for those of you who got those, that is for door prize number 2. And Jen, do you have the folks kind of in a hat there, ready for drawing?
1 second.
Okay.
Or, sorry, I'm having to go through the text, and it's.
Sure.
I just want to make sure I get everybody in there correct.
I'm in my Region 11 conference.
Okay. Diana is the winner.
Yay, Diana, congratulations. So Diana, you'll follow up again with Jen to claim those prizes, and we'll get the hay bag mailed to you, and the other two can come electronically. So folks, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I do want to introduce Dr. Cherie Page. She is a psychologist and a psychologist with DreamPower Horsemanship here in Gilroy, California. And she is here to talk about outsmarting burnout and building resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic. So a very timely topic. And I'd like to introduce her at this time. Cherie, are you there? Yes. So
I'm unmuted. I'm
there she
here.
is. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's so good to see a lot of familiar faces, Region 11. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I have about 40 minutes, so I'll do my best to keep an eye on time. But Nicole or anybody else, if I'm not, let me know. I can talk. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. All right. I'm going to move this over here. All right, so thank you everybody for being here today. We're going to talk about some hard stuff, but we're going to talk about how to be able to outsmart it. So we're going to talk about secondary trauma, compassion fatigue, and vicarious trauma. We want to try to outsmart burnout and build some resilience. So who am I? Nicole has already introduced me. I am Dr. Cherie Page. I'm a licensed psychologist with DreamPower Horsemanship in Gilroy, California. I do equine facilitated psychotherapy, and I specifically work with children with special needs, autism, ADHD, and anxiety. Those are all my favorite little people to be with. I also do work with adults too, but my preference is little people. I love my little wild Mustangs. They're my favorite. I'm also doing some research at DreamPower, and I've done lots of different groups over the years. It'll be 10 years in June. So lots of different groups I've done, individual. I've also taught at JFK when it was JFK. And I look forward to doing this work for as long as I'm alive, and I plan to be alive until I'm 100. So that should be good. I should be in the arena still at 100. Okay, so because this is kind of a difficult topic, and because we are in the middle of a pandemic, and because we are also just got some more restrictions in the state of California, I really want everyone to take care of yourself. So what this means is if you feel uncomfortable, anxious, worried, take some deep breaths, get up, walk around, roll your neck. If you have something to fidget with, go ahead and take a walk around the table or the room. I have super strong ego strength, so if I see you get up and move out of your screen, I'm going to be okay. So don't worry. Please take care of yourself. All right. Okay. So welcome to November. Welcome. We did it. We are here. Everybody make some noise. We've lived through 7 months of a pandemic, and we've continued to pivot and pivot and pivot at every single spot that we can to meet all the needs of our centers and our clients and volunteers and riders and staff and everybody. But when people ask me how my week is going, this picture is literally how I feel all the time. I'm just trying to make it through over the wall. Sometimes I got to go through the wall and take the wall down, but that's life right now. All right, so I'm going to lead everyone through a breathing exercise. Okay, this breathing exercise is really simple, really easy, and you can use it any other time. So If you're sitting down, uncross your legs. And I'm going to ask you to take some breaths, just nice and slow. I'm going to ask you to take breaths in through your nose. Try not to lift your shoulders. And breathing slowly out through your mouth. And I want you to take a look around the room and find 5 things that you have not seen before. I want you to take another 2 slow breaths, just in through your nose and just out through your mouth, nice and gentle. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and listen for 4 different sounds that you hear around you. And take another 2 slow breaths, just nice and gentle in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just do a check if your jaw feels clenched. Unclench your jaw. It's hard to be relaxed with a clenched jaw. And feel 3 different things around you. Maybe it's your computer, your seat, something you're wearing. And take another 2 slow breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Now I want you to smell 2 different things around you if you can. Maybe it's your hair, or if you're lucky to be in the barn right now, your horses, 2 smells. And take another 2 slow breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. And I want everyone to think about 1 thing that you are proud of yourself for. Does not need to be something huge. Just 1 thing today or this week that you feel proud of. And take another slow breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if your eyes are closed, you can gently open your eyes and come back to the room. Hopefully that is nice and relaxing for everyone. I'm just looking at everybody's faces and I see some nice, relaxed, smiley faces, so that's a good thing. All right, let's go ahead and keep moving on. All right, why on earth would we want to talk about this topic that is difficult and hard? Well, because if you are in this field, no matter what your title is, it doesn't matter, you are a caring person. And the more you care, the more vulnerable you are to things like compassion fatigue, burnout, vicarious trauma. It's not really a matter of, I wonder if this will ever happen. It's really a matter of when it will happen, how many times will it happen, what am I going to do about it? Unfortunately, there's no way to not make this happen or not to allow it to happen. So this is an occupational hazard that we have in our field and every helping profession. Doctors, nurses, caretakers, any time that you're caretaking for another human being and you're putting your heart out there, you're vulnerable to having this happen. And this happens when you're doing your job well, unfortunately. That's not a great payout, is it? But it is. So one of the ways to be able to help this from not happening is to do self-care. Unfortunately, that also happens to be one of the hardest things to do, because usually if you're a caring person, you're probably putting yourself out there a lot and saying yes a lot and helping people a lot, putting other people in front of you a lot. That's also going to put you at risk for compassion fatigue and burnout. So the most important thing whenever I do these presentations is to remind every single person that having burnout or compassion fatigue or vicarious trauma is not a sign of weakness at all. Unfortunately, that's not how it's often perceived, and we don't really feel that way about it when it happens to us, but it is not a sign of weakness in any way whatsoever. If you're doing your job really good and you're feeling a little bit burned out, congratulations. Unfortunately, it's the cost of caring. So this is a really fantastic quote that I always like to share. It's the expectation that we can be immersed in suffering and loss daily and not be touched by it is as unrealistic as expecting to be able to walk through water without getting wet. You cannot expect yourself to be helping people who are having a difficult time and not have any of that rub off on you in some way. Okay. What we do in terms of cost of caring, what we do is really rewarding. We get to see people overcome challenges, mental, emotional, physical. We get to see people change their life. We get to watch children and adults do things that maybe they never thought they'd be able to do. And that is the reason why we do this work, is for that. Those moments that take a often very long time to get to, but are extremely satisfying and really like touch your soul. On the flip side, though, as the cost of caring is we have 500 million things to do, but we do not have enough time to do them in. And we have all kinds of hats to wear, and we cannot Amazon Prime more time to be delivered the next day. I would love to have an Amazon Prime additional time. Probably not, because I would just fill it with more work. So maybe I shouldn't do that. But on the flip side, we are managing staff, volunteers, interns for some of us. Maybe you don't have enough staff, enough volunteers. You have to manage your herd. You have to deal with veterinarian bills, barn duties. There's like poop every single day. You have to get that cleaned. Maybe you're having, especially right now during COVID, experiencing reduced funding, grants, clients being able to pay, writers being able to show up, insurance is reimbursing. It's a long, exhaustive list, you guys. Administrative duties for us psychologists and therapists, like there's just a never-ending list of admin duties of notes. But there's also notes that everyone has to do for your writers and insurance and everything. And now, on top of all those things that were already a really long list before COVID, now we have to deal with safety issues, county issues, state issues, wearing masks, sanitizing. How are we going to do this? Or how are we going to be able to meet the safety requirements and meet writers and clients' needs? It is a lot. The other thing that's not on here, except for it says equestrians, that little picture down the bottom says equestrians getting shit done. Yeah, that's because we don't really do a good job of disseminating duties, do we? We're like, I'll do it myself. I don't really need help. I'll do it all. Yeah, well, sometimes we do need to ask for a little bit of help. All right, so I'm going to go through some of the definitions that we're going to talk about today, and then we're going to get more into them, okay? We're only going to be able to talk about 3 out of the 4 due to time constraints, and the last one, I'll get to it. So compassion fatigue. What is compassion fatigue, and why and how is it different from burnout? Isn't burnout and compassion fatigue the same thing? No, it is not, okay? So compassion fatigue can be defined as it's gradual and it causes profound emotional and physical exhaustion and disconnects us from our empathy and compassion. We need empathy and compassion to do our job. If we're disconnected from that, that is a problem. Vicarious trauma is caused from repeated exposure to trauma, suffering and pain of other people, and causes deep changes in our worldview. Though that one is by far the most dangerous, because it is what keeps us grounded in who we are in this world, how we see the world, the fairness of this world. And it's very important in how it feels our work and how we're able to give back, is how we feel the world is going and who we are inside of that world, okay? Burnout comes from stress, overwhelm, and frustration within the workplace and team, and can happen in any profession, okay? Secondary trauma, stress, we're not going to go over that today due to time constraints, and it's the least worrisome. I don't know if I really want to say that, but slightly least worrisome. So So that is if we have actually witnessed a traumatic event, and you can also be from hearing a client or a writer talk about a traumatic event. More than one or one very profound one. And the difference between vicarious trauma and secondary trauma stress is that secondary trauma stress causes PTSD-like symptoms. You'll start to avoid things. You'll have hypervigilance, anxiety, depression. A lot of the warning signs and symptoms that we're going to talk about in regards to compassion fatigue and vicarious trauma do have some overlap. But that one specifically, secondary trauma stress, is specific where it will produce PTSD-like symptoms without you having actually gone through the traumatic event yourself. And if anyone has any questions about that further, my information will be up so you guys can contact me. But for the sake of time, we won't go over that one today. But I want you guys to know that it exists because it often gets mixed into, okay? So compassion fatigue happens when we have profound emotional exhaustion, physical exhaustion. It is not helped by an extra hour of sleep or even an extra week of sleep. That's not what's going to help, unfortunately, okay? Like we talked about, it's an occupational hazard. And unfortunately, it erodes at our hope, our empathy, and our compassion. And those are the things that we really, really need. It disconnects us from our personal and professional relationships. It impacts, you know, it has far, far, far impacting results. And people have even left this field because they didn't tend to what they thought was I'll be better when, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so if you have compassion fatigue, what does that look like exactly? Well, it doesn't look very fun based on this picture, I can tell you that. So this picture shows some of the things that are really, really common for compassion fatigue. Notice how one of them says poor self-care. The more compassion fatigue you have, the less self-care you do. Ironic how that works out. So we can feel dispirited, irritable, angry, bitter, short-tempered with loved ones. It's important to also know that this can happen. We can feel this way towards clients, riders, volunteers, staff, and our horses. If we're feeling really short-tempered with all of the people in our life, that is a warning sign that we need to really take a look at, okay? You can start to have feelings of guilt and resentment and what feels like never-ending demands. If your to-do list went from a Post-it note to an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, now you have like a binder of to-do things, we may need to take a look at that. may need to pare that back just a little bit, all right? Okay, so what are some other things that happen? Well, ironically, what happens is people will work harder and longer hours, but they're not actually getting more work done. They're not actually producing anything extra. They're just putting out more effort. That's an issue because people feel like, oh, if I just work harder, I'm just not on my game, but that's not true at all, okay? Skipping lunches, skipping vacations, working every day of the week, working for long hours, 10 to 12 to 15 hours a day, not being able to not think about our riders, our clients, our volunteers when we're not at work, all right? People often with a lot of compassion fatigue will call out sick. They'll just straight up leave the job. It doesn't even mean they'll go find another job in the same field. Maybe they'll just leave the whole field and go do something. I mean, people have said, I would, you know, at this point, I would rather go work at Walmart where I don't have any responsibilities, but just do my job and leave at the end of the day. It doesn't come home with me. So if you feel like I'd rather work at Walmart than or anywhere else other than what I'm doing, that's a warning sign. All right, feeling resentful towards coworkers, volunteers, avoiding making difficult decisions is a big one that gets overlooked a lot, or avoiding meetings, board meetings, those kinds of things. Avoiding difficult topics. Maybe you have a horse that it's time for them to cross the rainbow bridge and you are having a difficult time making that choice, or there's something that's happening in your team and it's not good, but you're avoiding it. That may be a little bit of a sign that you're feeling a little bit of compassion fatigue, okay? Trouble keeping up with your daily activities. You're like, I just am trying so hard, but it's like so much energy trying to like wind myself up and do this. Not being present when you're at work, or in lessons when you're feeling a little fuzzy, you're just kind of like standing in the middle and the horse and the rider, the sidewalker are just walking around you. You're like, as long as everybody doesn't get hurt, just keep walking, do some figure eights. Sounds good to me. All good. That might want to check in, y'all. A need for more alone time and isolating than usual. So there obviously is a difference between extroverts and introverts, but if you are someone that typically likes to be around others and then you're feeling like you need more time because you kind of just don't want to deal with other people and you don't really feel like you're off work, probably have some compassion fatigue. If everyone feels like a client, you might have some compassion fatigue. Not speaking from experience or anything, just saying. All right, and the not fun part is that your compassion fatigue can ebb and flow throughout your career. Again, it's not, I wonder if this will happen. It's more around when this happens, how intense is it? How far down the rabbit hole am I going to go? And it's going to ebb and it's going to flow. I will say that the more times you encounter burnout, the more times you encounter compassion fatigue, it does get deeper in the rabbit hole. And it gets more intense and it will take longer for you to get out of. So that's important to, hopefully for anyone that's feeling this, to do something about it, because the longer it goes on, the longer it's going to take to reverse it for you to feel better. Okay. Feeling stuck in areas of your life and feeling there's no solution. So not being able to find a lot of answers, but feeling like troubles and issues and worries are just piling, and there's no way out of it, which is all really difficult right now during a pandemic, because we all are going through something collectively together and we all don't have the right answer. It has to be right for yourself, which ironically is also, you know, a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this presentation. If you came to the presentation hoping to get like a miracle, like solution or formula, like I don't have it, sorry. You have to piece it together yourself. You got to figure out what it is that works for you, because what works for you may not work for me and vice versa. And that's the same thing I think right now that we have to remember going through this pandemic, is that every center is unique. Every center is doing their own thing. We're all doing things safely. And we're all trying to find solutions, and they may not all work the same way for everyone. So it's okay if your solution looks different than someone else's, and it's okay if your self-care looks different from someone else's. It should, because you're a different person. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about vicarious trauma. So like I said before, this is when we have repeated exposure to trauma, either witnessing, hopefully not, or listening to it. So even for my TRIs, or is it a CTRA now? I see TRIs now. You're not in a vacuum. Even though you guys aren't therapists, you guys still have riders that come that may want to talk about things that are happening to them, that have history of trauma, that have difficult medical histories. And those things, they don't live in a vacuum. They come with our riders, they come with our clients. And so if any of those stories build up over time, or one very intense story touches us, it's going to impact us. It doesn't necessarily produce PTSD-like symptoms, but there's, as we'll talk about, there's definitely some anxiety and some depression that can happen if it goes on too long. Okay, so the numbers are pretty staggering. So in all helping professionals across the board, 40 to 85% of helping professionals have compassion fatigue or vicarious trauma. That's a lot. That's a lot. 40%, I don't know, I'm gonna have to guess those people are working part-time maybe. I don't know. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to say 60 to 85%, but that's just me, especially right now. All right, if it's right now, if it's during pandemic, I'm going to roll up to 80, 85%. But that doesn't mean it's discouraging. It just means that we're aware that these things are really common right now. Okay. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. You're doing a great job. Let's figure out a way to be able to keep you held together so you can get out of this and go keep doing a great job. All right. So if I feel vicarious trauma, what are some of the symptoms? All right, feeling numb, irritable, sad, hopeless, lack of patience, poor sleep, and chronic stress. So one of the things that can happen with vicarious trauma and burnout and compassion fatigue, unfortunately, all three of them, is that anytime we have chronic stress, and it's lasting and we don't have a way out of it, our nervous system goes from here, which is kind of normal, and it jacks up a little bit. Your system can only stay jacked up here for so long. Our system's not meant to feel like it's running from a bear 24/7. It's like, poof, all right, now we have evaded the threat. Let's go back down to normal. But right now, especially right now, everyone's nervous system is jacked way high, and that is such an impact on our sleep. And sleep is super, super important. One of the most important things, but it happens to be one of the number one things that gets impacted by compassion fatigue. Okay. So sleep is super, super important. I cannot not stress that enough. So another interesting one that I think people overlook is if you're sensitive to violence on TV or a movie where you weren't before and you start crying and you hadn't before and you're not pregnant, maybe take a look at that. Or at the flip side, maybe you feel numb to violence on TV and you've completely submerged yourself in The Walking Dead and FBI and serial killer things. I don't know. I have zero knowledge about those things, but that could be another thing too. If you're like, I'm watching all these violent things and I am not at all concerned, you should be concerned. All right. Anger, sadness, or resentment towards the world in it being unfair. This is a really big one right now. There's a lot of unfairness happening in the world for all of us. We don't have an answer we don't have a magic answer on how to be able to get out. But in general, also, if you're feeling like the world is unfair, it's not fair this is happening to this rider, to this family, to this horse, to this, I want you guys to really check in about that. That's a big internal thought that happens that is like a trigger to be like, oh, maybe there's something else happening under there. Maybe something else going on. All right. Intrusive thoughts or feelings about a client or rider, about their story, about what's happening for them, about what's happened for them. If you're just sitting there having just relaxing and then the thought pops in, you're like, I don't want to think about that. You may want to do a little bit of, personal work and really think about that a little bit more. And this is definitely true. Very much so in the field of psychology. We get a lot of training, hopefully, around this because in our field, we obviously are listening to sad stories. So this is a really big one for any of us therapists on this call right now. But again, it doesn't mean that our CTRIs and program directors or anyone else, nobody lives in a vacuum. So you bring yourself everywhere you go with you. Feeling anxious or depressed, and your physical health may decline and you may get sick often. If you're feeling like I just can't get over this cold, or I keep getting sick, or there's all these little things that are happening and I'm not getting good sleep, really, really check in with yourself and figure out what might be happening. Okay. All right. So burnout can happen in any job profession. It doesn't just have to be in the field of EAAT. Okay. But in our field, it's going to be a little bit different because we are in the helping field. So we're going to experience burnout maybe more often than someone who does accounting. It doesn't mean it's not true that they won't feel it, but we're going to have a higher chance of experiencing it. Okay. So how is burnout different from compassion fatigue? It's different because it's caused from chronic stress. It's powerlessness or little control over your schedule, unclear job expectations. This is really hard in our field because we're wearing so many different hats. Who's the barn manager? Who's the volunteer coordinator? If you are a small center and there's only a few of you and everyone is doing everything they can right now to get through, even before the pandemic happened, that can make us vulnerable to feeling burned out when we are not sure, like, I'm doing this, but is this really my job? Well, it has to be done. So somebody has to do it. feeling overwhelmed, low job satisfaction, poor pay. For us in this field, you know, we don't do this job because we get paid millions and we're superstars. I mean, we are superstars, but we don't get paid millions. So this one is kind of, again, a little different in our field, but we do it because we love it, because it feels good, because it makes a really good difference in the world. That's why we do it. Okay. Unsupportive or toxic workplace or team, monotonous work, the same thing over and over. And this is also true for our horses, you guys. All this list is, I mean, except the poor pay. I mean, I guess if you didn't feed them enough hay. This is true for our horses too. Monotonous work is why our horses burn out. Just go in circles all day long. Like, oh my God, if they go in circles all day long and we go in circles all day long, our team is gonna burn out quick. So it's also, you know, keep that in mind. We want to give our horses different things to do, different training, desensitization, all kinds of other fun things, so that they also feel like they have some spice in their life. Work-life imbalance. If you're working too much and you're not living a lot, that's a problem. Of course, right now, things are a little bit different. So burnout also can cause anxiety and depression. It also causes working memory issues, cardiovascular disease, which again is linked to poor sleep, emotional disease, and impacts our creativity and problem solving. So if you're like, I cannot think of what to do for this lesson, I have done everything, there's nothing left to do, and I don't really feel like looking up some ideas, might want to think about that. Might want to do a little bit of soul searching around that. That's important, okay? And burnout, again, is not the same as compassion fatigue or vicarious trauma, but enough burnout can make you more vulnerable to compassion fatigue and vicarious trauma. Let me take a look at our time. Oh, not enough time. Okay, so there's 3 kinds of burnout. I'm just gonna quickly go over these, all right? Overload burnout sounds exactly like what it is. You're doing too much, you're not taking any breaks, and the main coping skill for this is to complain. Under challenge burnout is you're not challenged enough and you feel underappreciated. And so oftentimes people will cope by disengaging or become cynical. Then there's neglect, where you don't feel like you're appreciated, and people typically become passive and unmotivated. That's definitely an issue. So why is this important for our teams? Well, because again, we don't live in a vacuum. We all bring ourselves wherever we go. If you are in a team, and we all pretty much have to be on a team in this field, then it's really important to recognize what you bring to your team and recognize if there's a team member who also is having a difficult time, and if you feel like you can talk to him or her so that they can help themselves to be able to live a happier life. So some research has shown that the way to be able to reduce toxicity is having peer support, supervision, proper training, which is the number one thing one of the number one things we'll talk about. Proper debriefing, consultation, control over your schedule. Can you work from home? Which is kind of hilarious when I did this presentation, because now almost everybody's working from home, except maybe some of us who get to still be at the barn, hopefully. Making a pact with your colleagues to reduce your BMWs. And what are BMWs? I love this. Is a real term in organizational psychology, y'all. BMW stands for bitching, moaning, and whining. If all you do with your team is bitch, moan, and whine, you don't find any solutions, well, nothing's gonna happen. So make a pact. You get 10 minutes. You get 10 minutes to bitch and moan and whine, whatever you want to do. And then you got to cut it off. It's slippery slope. But again, you have to feel like you can have this conversation with your team, right? And be open about this, okay? Be honest if you need outside help, especially right now. We're all going through so much right now, okay? Collaborate, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, collaborating with your team to have lunch away from the barn, outside of the office, or work out together. Right now, wear your mask, keep 6 feet, but go on a hike, or restructure job duties, which is one of the hardest ones, just given the logistics of our field. That's really more for if there's anything administratively that can be redistributed or things like that. But it doesn't mean that you can't ask somebody to take over for one day or take a break or whatnot. Okay, so risk factors, insufficient training, like I said, is the number one thing. If you do not feel like you can handle a situation with a rider, a client, or a horse, or a volunteer, then that's going to open you up to feeling like you're incompetent, you're not good enough, and it's going to make you doubt yourself. And that's a slippery slope as well. So training is one of the number one things to be able to do to help combat compassion fatigue and burnout. Okay, so if you have identification with the people that you're helping, that's also another issue. If you feel like your trauma or any wounds you have is bumping up too close to what your rider or client is going through, you need to be really cautious of that and be aware of that. Okay, working conditions and hours, working in isolation, that's also really difficult because oftentimes, and especially right now, we're doing a lot of isolation. Type A personality, if you just feel like you're going to do everything and it has to be perfect, and then you just try to be perfect and it's never perfect, well, good luck. That is a risk factor. Lack of personal boundaries and feeling like self-care is selfish. That is the number one thing that we all think, I'm being so selfish by taking some time or saying no or not always helping, but that's not true. Because if you burn out so bad that you leave the field, you're not helping anyone at all. So I love this list because this is a list about lies that we tell ourselves. I'm fine. That's not true. I will insert anything into this once things calm down. Also not true. If you have something that's been on your to-do list for months or maybe years, then you can see how this line is not true. All right. I do love my job. You have to convince yourself, I love what I do. It's so great. Maybe think a little bit about that. Okay. I'm happy to take on more. Sure you are, until you're grumpy and resentful and hating everyone around you. I'm just tired. I just need some sleep. Also not true. You don't understand. No one else can do this but me. People are depending on me. I really want to be helpful. I will be fine once this is done. This too shall pass, which is a really great tagline, but not helpful all the time. Okay. I need to get back on top of my game. That's a number one thing that people who are feeling burned out are telling themselves. Like, I need to get better at my compassion fatigue. I'm not doing good enough. I need to do more trainings and do more of this and do more of that. But if you feel like you're really trying hard and you're grasping and it's not happening, really want you to stop and take a look at that. It's not healthy to beat yourself up. Okay. I'll take a vacation and then I'll be fine. Well, right now that's not really possible either, but when things are post-pandemic, it's still not the answer always. Okay. If people would just let me do my job, I would be fine. And it's not me, it's everyone and everything else around me. So those are lies that we tell ourselves when we're trying to make ourselves be logical and not acknowledge how we're feeling and what's happening for us. Okay. So that was a whole lot. All right. I'm just keeping an eye on our time here. All right. So I'm going to give you guys a lot of warning signs. Some of them we've already talked about. So I'm going to kind of go through, not all of them, because we talked about some of them before. So if you feel like this poor little donkey, this is a physical warning sign. If you're just tired, I'm just so tired all the time. Like if people ask you, how do you feel? And your answer is, I'm just tired. Like, and you feel exhausted. Like it's probably compassion fatigue. Feeling completely unmotivated, unexpectedly crying, being forgetful about anything at all, just being forgetful. Okay. Headaches or migraines when you didn't have them as much before. Increased susceptibility to illness, like we said, insomnia or hypersomnia, sleeping too less or not sleeping enough, feeling like you have somatization. So where your anxiety or your stress will manifest into a physical symptom, like an ulcer. That's not very fun. Lack of patience and using alcohol or drugs as coping skills, and isolating or withdrawing. Okay. So emotional exhaustion is the hallmark key for compassion fatigue. But like we said, we have anxiety and depression, being cynical. If you have a new team member and they have these great ideas and you are like, we've already tried that. Why are you talking? Then you might have some compassion fatigue and burnout. You know, it's okay if maybe they have a great idea and it didn't work, but you know, it's more about how you feel and your response to them versus their really fantastic idea that may not work logistically. That's okay. Distancing yourself from others, inability to tolerate strong emotions, not wanting to deal with other people, loss of hope, hypervigilance, resentment towards others. This is the "it must be nice" syndrome. It must be nice to leave on time. Must be nice to take a lunch. Must be nice to fill in the blank, anything. And it's okay. Like, these are all really normal burnout and compassion fatigue things that we think. These are just warning signs. If you feel like these are popping up more and more and more, you know, take some time to look at what might be happening, or even decreased empathy and sympathy for those around you. If you feel like, you know, you come home after a really long, hard day, and then your partner's like, I've had a really long day too. And you're like, well, it can't be that hard to like type keys all day. Like, I'm out working with dangerous animals and clients who have special needs, and you're typing keys. If you're saying that or anything like that, warning sign. All right. And then self-doubt and loss of self-esteem, which is a really sad one, because all of us are doing this job because we're capable and because we're really good at it and because we care. And if you start to feel like you can't do this job and you're worried you're not good at it, that's probably the one that makes me really sad, because everyone is doing this because we can. So I want everyone to really remember that. All right. All right. So now we're going to go into a little bit of, yay, COVID. So again, there are some things that really align with compassion fatigue. Hyperproductivity. If we're working from home now, probably all we're doing is working. Like, oh, I'll just do this, I'll do this. And you're just sitting in your computer all day. And then if you're like friends and family want to be like, let's Zoom, and you're like, I've been Zooming all day, I'm not Zooming anymore, I'm tired of Zoom, I got Zoom fatigue, then might want to take a look. But these are all really common things that are happening for all of us through this pandemic. I just want to make sure that you guys know that these are all quote unquote normal responses to having all of us endure for 7 months and who knows how long, being isolated and having to do all these safety protocols and having our life be really disrupted. Okay. Quarantine comparison. The quarantine comparison is my favorite one. It's my favorite one because I did it. I will tell you guys, I did this. We are essential workers, so we are still working. Not everybody was still working. Some people were posting on Facebook that they were baking bread and doing yoga and feeling fantastic. I was like, I hate you. I have to stop looking at your Facebook because I'm about to unfriend you. And these are like close friends that I love. And I'm like, I can't just stop. Must be nice. So do not compare your quarantine with anyone else. It's different for all of us. And then high functioning anxiety and depression. This goes for all of us right now. We're all just making it through, right? We're just making it through. And at the end of the day, if you feel completely depleted, like you have nothing left inside of you, well, you're kind of right on target. So try not to beat yourself up. But we're going to talk about ways that you can hopefully help have that be less. Okay. So again, it's not if it will happen, it will be when. If you don't have any compassion fatigue or burnout, either you just started or you have like 2 clients or 2 riders and you spend the rest of the day at the beach or at the spa or something that I'm not doing. So it's not really about when it, or if, it's about when. Okay. So starting to gauge your burnout and your compassion fatigue and your vicarious trauma on a scale from 1 to 10 is really, really important. Anything above an 8 and higher. 5 is like, I'm just kind of trotting along, I'm doing kind of good, everything's all right. Like, it's kind of stressful, but it's kind of okay. 6 is like, oh, a little more stress. 7's like, oh, I'm not doing, like, I'm still okay, but I'm feeling stressed. 8, 9, 10, you're past the point of being able to manage your stress if it's that prolonged, if it's that high, if it's, you know, that much. Okay. So what are some things you can do? And again, not all these are possible. All right. Not all these are possible because your center may be different, your job may be different, and we have a pandemic right now. All right. But can you take less riders or clients, which seem weird because we're all probably have less clients and riders? Can you take a day off? Can you work from home if you are primarily at the barn, or if you're working at home a lot, can you go into the barn? Can you get some Wi-Fi, have a change of scenery, change your schedule around, asking someone else to help cover for you for a day or a couple of days? Can you cancel something that you said yes to? It's okay to say, hey, I said yes when I was feeling good, but now I'm not feeling so good, and I really got to take care of myself. So I'm going to decline on this. All right. Not all of these are possible, but what is possible? Okay. So when you are at an 8 or higher, these are some really good questions to ask yourself. Okay. What do I stand to lose if I don't deal with the effects of this? If I just keep ignoring this, pretending like I just need some extra sleep or, one day off, what will happen? What do I stand to gain if I deal with this occupational hazard? Can I be more productive, be happier, feel more confident, have more job satisfaction, help more people? Who are my biggest supporters of my self-care plan? We all need to have people who support us. You can't do this alone. You cannot do this job alone. You cannot be in this field alone. So who are the people that you can count on, that you can talk to, that don't judge you, that can support you when you're having a difficult time? Okay. And then how can I make one change this week to allow more breathing space? Just one, just for the week, just one. All right. Working towards better work-life balance, asking to attend trainings, even if it means doing it on Zoom, which is okay. But again, if you're having Zoom fatigue, just take a break for right now. Maybe read a book. I know someone who's doing jigsaw puzzles and they love it. Again, this has to be personal for you because it's different for everyone. Some people want to be able to listen to podcasts, read a book, do jigsaw puzzles, take a hike, take a nap, take a breath. It's all different, okay? But you do need to take care of yourself. That is really the bottom line, all right? And it's okay to say no. I have to bold this for all of us. It is okay to have boundaries. You're still a good, worthwhile person if you can remember that boundaries are things like, it's not my job to fix others. I think I would like to change that to, it's not my job to fix everyone, because that's often a thing for us. It's okay to say no. It's okay if other people get angry if I say no. It's okay if they get angry if I don't, do what they need for me to do, okay? It's not my job to take responsibility for others. I do not have to anticipate the needs of others. It's my job to make me happy, not other people. So do not expect other people to do so. They will let you down, and it's not because they're a bad person. It's because their job is to make themselves happy, and your job is to make you happy, okay? It's okay for others to disagree with me. I have the right to my own feelings, and I am enough. It's okay to be a work in progress and still go out and help people. It's okay to feel broken and feel strong at the same time. These are super important things to remember all the time, but especially right now. None of us, this whole system right now that we have is not set up for anyone to win. Not anyone. Do I know that's like, yay, winning, living my best life? I don't know anyone, and probably you guys don't either. So it's okay to feel sad, but hopeful, broken, but strong. It's okay to have more than one emotion at one time. Okay. Again, the more burned out you are, the longer it's going to take. On average, it takes about 6 months to 1 year, depending on how burned out you are and how much compassion fatigue you have, to rebound from it. So if that's not enough for all of us to take a little bit of a stronger look at this, 6 months, if you're just like run-of-the-mill compassion fatigue. I don't really know what run-of-the-mill compassion fatigue is, but feel like on your second or third compassion fatigue and you got some vicarious trauma and just burned out and we're going through a pandemic, 6 months to a year. So also part of that is to remember that while you're taking care of yourself and you're coming out of the compassion fatigue and the burnout, to give yourself some leeway and some time. There are going to be days when you're like, I feel great, and then I feel terrible, or even like hour by hour, which is, really also common as we're trying to get through hour by hour right now. Okay. Your body will keep the score for you. You can try to lie to your body, but if you don't make time for your wellness, you will be forced to make time for your illness. Your body will tell you. So 4 basic self-care strategies. Sleep. Again, sleep, sleep, sleep. I threw a nap in there because it sounds like a magical unicorn solution. I don't know if everyone can have a nap. It sounds glorious. My friends were like, I'm taking a nap. I'm like, oh, don't text me. I don't like you. Healthy foods, exercise, and vacations when we're safely able to do so. Renewals, activities that replenish you. If you don't know what replenishes you, I want you to close your eyes and think of things that make you happy, that are not work related. That cannot be making someone else feel better. Cannot do that. Okay. Nourishing activities, at least 10 minutes a day, even if it just means that you go and you hide in the bathroom from everybody else. And you just have 10 minutes, you lock the door, and you're like, I'm going to the bathroom, but you're just in there, I don't know, on Facebook or something, doing 10 minutes of alone time. You got to lock yourself in the bathroom to get away from everybody. Do so, okay? Access to regular supervision, debriefing, and counseling, okay? So people think of rest as sleep. That's not true. It also can mean that you take a break from your responsibilities. You have a safe place, you're alone at home, you take time away, and you give yourself permission to not be helpful. Those are also considered types of rest, all right? So one of the biggest things is being able to reframe your thoughts. If you have thoughts of perfectionism, that's a big place to look at. Acknowledging that you cannot help everyone, all right? You cannot do everything. You're gonna plant some seeds and you may not be able to watch them grow, and that's okay. You know that when you go in there with a good heart and you do your work and you're good at it, that you are putting a drop in the good bucket, and that is enough. You don't always have to see someone be able to do the things that they came in and set out to do. You just hope that when you send them off, that they have those planted seeds that they can continue on to do those things, okay? We can all do hard things. It's really hard to remember that right now, but we're all doing hard things and we can continue to do hard things, all right? Self-care is a discipline and is not selfish. And resilience doesn't mean being strong all the time. It means, again, that you are allowed to struggle and have hope, to struggle and be positive. And positive affirmations are really important too. They're really hard to do, and not a lot of people like to do them, but they are helpful. For example, when I'm experiencing, put any kind of negative thought or challenge in there, I can, and then put one small thing you can do to be able to help yourself feel a tiny bit better, to reframe that, to look at it differently, to find opportunities in problems and not problems in opportunities, all right? So regulating our nervous system is super important. That's any kind of body movement, any kind at all. So I always include this. It's empirically supported ways to regulate your internal state and things like mindfulness-based stress reduction, relaxation training, like the relaxation training we did at the very beginning of this. You can do that anywhere, anytime, with animals, by yourself, driving. Just don't close your eyes. It's a tool that y'all can bring anywhere, all right? Guided loving kindness meditations and hatha yoga. Those are all have been shown to be positive in helping us regulate our internal states. Again, I want to emphasize that this needs to be personal for you. Just because I'm saying, oh, go do yoga, and you go and do it and you hate it and it's not helpful, don't do it. That's me. I do not do yoga well. I am not a good yoga person, not a good meditator. I want to be in boot camp, screaming, yelling, doing burpees, and feeling like I'm going to barf. That's how I feel better. So see how you got to figure out what's right for you. I don't see too many other people wanting to do burpees around me. So if someone says, oh, just take a bath, you'll feel better, and do some yoga, and you're like, it's okay. Find your own way to be able to feel better. All right. And it's super important to remember that true self-care is not soft baths and chocolate cake. It is making choices to build a life you do not need to regularly escape from. We are allowed to have escape from our daily lives and take vacations and take breaks. But if you constantly feel like you want to get away, don't be afraid to make changes for the betterment of you. All right. And then I always like to add a little bit of a silver lining. So I did notice that one of the questions that was sent out in the beginning was things that have been positive from 2020 through all of this. And so I would like for everyone to try to think of at least one thing that's positive that has happened. Maybe you got to spend more time with family, more time with your horse, do some desensitization training, read a book that you wanted to do, or just maybe have just a little bit of breathing space, just a little tiny bit, but to try to find at least one small shred of positive is important in all of this, okay? There is, at the end of this, I'm going to give you guys a list of resources, and on it is a link to the Professional Quality of Life self-test, and this is for any helping professional, and it helps gauge your burnout, your compassion fatigue, and your vicarious trauma. And there's a link for it, so if anyone is interested to see, I wonder, what's happening for me, it's in there. You can copy the link, it'll be on the last page, and then you can just pop it in. Even if you just Googled ProQual Professional Quality of Life, it'll pop up as well. Okay. All right, so there are the resources. I'm going to come back to it because I have some things I want to end with. All right, so I want everyone to remember that doing your job and doing the best you can do does not mean working yourself to a nervous breakdown. I know that there are things that we can't change right now. I know there are responsibilities that we can't necessarily change, but there is one or two small things that can be shifted so that you can help yourself get through this as strong as you can. All right, because if all you do is your job, you're not going to do a good job. All right, so I want everyone to remember that the work that you do is super, super important, even during a pandemic. You are important. The work that you do makes a difference. It matters. It makes this world a better place. So please, please, please take care of yourself so that you don't burn out and have such bad compassion fatigue that you would rather go work at Walmart than work in the barn and make a difference with everyone. So I will end with this last quote. All right. I've made it a priority to practice self-care so that I never lose my fight or drive to inspire others for change. The end. So I'm going to put back up the resources page so that if there's anything up there that you guys want to copy down, you guys can. There are some good books and a workbook, and also a really nice the Self-Care Institute at the bottom with Amy. She's a really nice lady. That's also really wonderful, and she has a page specific about COVID on there as well. So that is all, Miss Nicole. Do you want me to leave up the resources page for a minute, or you want me to unshare my screen?
If you'll keep resources up there just for a moment, Dr. Page, I'm going to change up our schedule a little bit for just Jen and Chrissy, so you guys know I'm going to skip a couple of the things that we had right after this. But folks, if you want to take a moment to write down the resources that Dr. Page has listed there, I want to say a huge thank you to you, Dr. Page, for formatting what I know was previously, I think, an hour and a half worth of stuff into, it's been close to an hour, everybody. So thank you very much. Dr. Page, this was so helpful, so profound, and particularly now when everybody is really working in overtime, it feels like all the time, whether it's from home, at the barn, with clients or students, or with family and their own health. So I want to say thank you very much on behalf of everyone here for sharing these resources and your presentation with us.
Thank you for having me. It was really great to be able to be a part of this, and I hope that it's helpful to be able to help get us all through. We're all doing the best we can. So
yes, and I saw lots of head shaking, lots of smiles, lots of laughs at the
I couldn't see everybody, so I hope so.
It was fabulous. So thank you very much, Dr. Page.
Thank you.
And for taking time out of your day. I know you are doing a lot of telehealth, so thank you for sharing your time via Zoom with us. If you don't mind stopping your screen share, Dr. Page, and I'm going to go out of order here a little bit, folks, and just go straight to Kathy Alm. Kathy is joining us this evening, and she has made herself available for some PATH updates. So once we've got a kind of a gallery view again,
There we go.
Oh, here we go. Okay, we're back to gallery view. So I think, folks, you should be able to see everybody. And Kathy Alm, CEO of PATH International, has jumped from one Zoom call to another this evening, and I'm sure not the first today or this week for her. So I want to say thank you very much, Kathy, for being here. We're really glad to have you and excited to hear about what's happening at the PATH level.
Well, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate the invitation. Now, is it possible for you to give me the ability to share my screen? Because I do have a few slides. If not, I can just talk.
Let me find you on my resource here. Allow. Oh no.
If not, like I said, I can just talk. I just thought it was more interesting to maybe look at slides than just look at my face.
If I make you a co-host, can you do that? Or do you have the ability to screen share now?
Hang on. I should. And yes.
Yay.
And there you go. Right?
Yes,
Everybody
started screen sharing.
started screen sharing. Okay. Well, and the meeting was scheduled to get over at 6:30, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I will go quickly and just kind of hit the highlights. And then if anybody has questions about more details, I'm happy to answer those questions. I'm Kathy Alm. I'm the CEO of PATH International. For anybody I haven't been lucky enough to meet face-to-face, since face-to-face kind of went away. Dr. Page, great presentation. I was only able to see about the last half hour of it because, as Nicole said, I was on another Zoom call, but great presentation and much needed, especially right now. Some of this information, you all, anybody that attended the annual meeting, I shared some of this information at the annual meeting. What I wanted to just touch on is the impact of COVID-19, what COVID-19 has had on our members, as well as PATH International and the industry. It remains a top priority for us to provide as many resources and as much information as we can to help you continue to provide the services that I know are much needed and much wanted throughout the country. So we continually assess the impact that COVID-19 is having. And here, I just wanted to go over some of the things that we've done in response to make sure that you're aware of it. We initially put out a free COVID-19 bulletin. We have done 30 bulletins to date, and plus 3 special communications, and 7 free webinars, everything from navigating the impact of COVID, reopening, resuming services, your window of tolerance. The reason I wanted to highlight those is in case you missed any of those, and any of those might be useful, whether it's for CEUs or for more education, you can find those on our website under just click on the COVID-19 banner, and it'll take you right there to those free resources. Want to make sure everybody knew that center renewals, we extended the grace period, and in addition, any center that renews before December 31st will be able to keep their original join date. We also encourage centers to take advantage of payment plans, because we know the pandemic has given many centers a major financial hit. The next center renewal date is going to be here before we know it, because it's on January 15th. We also deferred accreditation. Premier accredited center members with a lapse date between April 1st of this year and June 30th of next year were given a 1-year extension to their lapse date for the 2021 renewal cycle. And we also have discounted that cycle. A new thing that was just added is video submission acceptance for those that are pursuing the therapeutic writing certification. So not CTRI, but those that were trying to finish the therapeutic writing certification. Candidates that have met specific eligibility requirements can complete initial certification via testing, excuse me, via video. You can find this information on the website. Click on the updated 2020 registered phase 2 video submission packet, and it will give you the guidelines. We've extended the TRI program through through June 30th, 2021, and extended the transition from TRI to CTRI into next year as well. We are working with those registered TRI applications, those that have IT letters. We're working with all individuals to make sure that they are able to extend their IT letters and to make them valid through June of next year, to give everybody more time to get through this. We are the PATH International office. We secured a PPP loan, and I just tell you this so you know that your association is stable, and we will be here for you and continue to be here for you. All of our staff moved to 100% remote. We have slightly reopened the office, meaning we might have anywhere from 2 to 3 staff members come into the office to do the work that needs to be done from the office. But our staff has been serving you remotely since March, and have become very adept at making sure they're still serving our members, even though they're doing it from their kitchen table. We moved all of our meetings to virtual, as you know, and that wasn't that big of a stretch because a lot of our meetings were virtual beforehand. I'm going to run through this really quickly, but I just wanted to give everybody the idea and 2 things. One is you're not alone in navigating with the pandemic. And there's a lot of hope out there. There's a lot of hope with our individual members. There's a lot of hope with our member centers. We've done 2 surveys, and the data has trended positively in terms of reopening, in terms of rehiring staff, in terms of being able to continue the work, the important work that you all do. And Karen in our membership office also called 111 centers that hadn't renewed and talked with a number of them. A number of them she wasn't able to connect with, but basically the trend of those conversations also reinforced that those that weren't going to renew, primarily it wasn't about COVID-19. It was they were going out of business before COVID-19 hit. We recognize, however, that COVID-19, the pandemic is lasting longer and longer than any of us had hoped. And so we may see more of a downward trend come January, but we will continue to work with centers to try to provide things that they need in order to stay successful and navigate through until we are back to whatever the new normal may end up being. Workshops and certifications were suspended for a time. They have started to come back. We have worked with the host sites to make sure that they've got tight protocol in place and are very responsive. There's not a lot of them being done. However, if you are looking for a workshop or certification, just keep checking the website. We keep that updated for those that are able to continue going forward with the hosting. Region conferences, many of them are actually pivoting to a virtual conference for those that are being held at least in the first half of next year. Some of them have changed over to state meetings, but they are all working to see how can we still provide this education, how can we still provide the networking opportunities. And you may have noticed that each region has been holding Zoom networking opportunities. There have been 70 events to date of Zoom networking opportunities. PATH International provided each region with a Zoom account in order to be able to help them stay connected to all of you. And so you have a way to stay connected to each other. And then we still plan to hold our international conference in person if vaccines and everything keep going the way they're sounding. And it's Thursday, October 14th through Saturday, October 16th in North Carolina. We are, however, also making up backup plans to, is there a way that we can have part in person, part virtual what is the best way that we can safely provide that experience, that education and networking to all of you. So I wanted to, this is my don't miss out and coming soon. Want to encourage you, if you weren't able to attend the terminology panel, optimal terminology panel, or the annual meeting, those videos are on our website. There was it was out in the e-news yesterday, and both of those were attended by, the terminology panel was attended by about 460 people, and the annual meeting was attended by 343. Not that I, paid attention to the exact numbers. But the optimal terminology panel in particular has a lot of really good information. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. And we're still working on rolling out the Higher Logic project program, which will be a really good networking program for everybody. We just run into some technology issues. What a surprise, right? New standards manual will be out next year. And I also wanted to make sure that everybody saw the message today that we have finally been able to roll out a new center benefit, which is Grant Station. And Grant Station pretty much takes the place of the foundation directory, because honestly, the foundation directory priced us out of the market because they increased their price from like $20,000 a year to like $100,000 a year, and that we could not afford that. But the Grant Station is the same, has the same information that Foundation Directory does, and it is a way for centers to research grants that they can apply for, as well as get tips on the best way to write the grants. And your center actually should have already received an email about how to sign up and how to access it. The email came from memberservices@grantstation.com, in case you didn't see it. And we just sent out a posting from PATH International this afternoon, in case you didn't see that, that email and need help navigating. It gives you some links in order to do that. Or you can always call the office and talk to one of our membership representatives. So very quickly, just going towards the future, we continue to remain membership centric in our focus. It is all about what do our members need and what are we able to provide in order to assist you into providing the best service you possibly can. We are always asking the question, what do our members need? What do our credentialed professionals need? We will also continue to monitor the pandemic. We will also continue to monitor that to assist you, as well as our staff, as well as the industry as a whole. We'll be doing some scenario planning for our own organization and for the industry, and we continue to be guided by our strategic plan. However, some of the objectives have changed up, and priorities, as the pandemic kind of stays at the top of the list. Because of the resilience of you and the important work that you do and the ongoing hard work of the board leadership and the staff, I have hope. I look around, I talk to members. I miss you guys terribly. I miss being able to see you face to face, but I know that everybody is out there navigating the best they can. They come and they listen to presentations like Dr. Page, and hopefully take home some of those points to help you continue to navigate what we're doing, and to continue to find joy in what you're doing, and know the difference that you're still making, even with the different mandates and different restrictions. Just know that we're here to support you. I'm here to support you. Our entire staff is here to support you. So always feel free to contact the office if there's something that we can help you with. And that, I of course have to, those are our sponsors. It's always good to see who sponsors PATH International. But that is the end of my presentation. And Nicole, I don't know if we have time. I'm happy to take questions, or folks, you can always email me calm@pathintl.org directly if you have questions. Up to you, Nicole, whether you want me to take questions or move on.
I am going to ask us to move on just for the sake of time. I know that we are, I think, just about 10 minutes over, and we promised folks to just be an hour and a half. And I know we've done a lot of Zooming recently. But I do want to extend sincere gratitude to you, Kathy, for taking the time from hopping from one to the other and sharing those updates with us. And again, encouraging folks to, if you do have questions, you've met your region leadership team, even if virtually this evening, so you know who you can contact in your area. And then of course you can go to PATH directly if you have other questions as well. But a huge thank you to you, Kathy, for taking the time. I know you're in a different time zone as well. But I know it's beneficial for the membership to hear directly from you, the top lady in the organization, how things are going organizationally. So a huge thank you for you and your time this evening.
You're very welcome. It's really nice to see all of you, even if it is over Zoom. It's better than nothing as far as I'm concerned. So thank you very much for having me.
Sure. Thank you very much. Folks, we are going to wrap up with just a few things. I want to go to we have one final door prize this evening. So let me get back to my page so that I can screen share it with you. And it actually is a PATH prize. So for those of you who are PATH members or who have unique PATH login credentials to get access to the PATH store, this is especially for you. So you do need to have a PATH login to take advantage of this particular door prize. And the question for this one, again, leave it in the chat and we will select a winner. Again, you just need to have those login credentials. But the question for this particular door prize, or I'll tell you what the prize is, how's that? It's a $50 gift certificate to the PATH International online store. So there, of course, is all your continuing education, your recordings, and actually Dr. Page's full recording of this presentation from the 2019 International Conference in Denver is available on here. So for a $50 credit to the PATH store and another $100 gift card to Malibu 5-Star Naturals, the question for this one is, the letter A at the beginning of a standard, like A32, indicates which type of standard? Jen, I'll defer to you again once if we've got chats that are slowing down. I'll go ahead and share the answer.
Sorry, just making sure I get everybody's name in there.
Sure.
Okie dokie, let's close it.
Okay, so the letter A at the beginning of a standard, like A32, indicates that the standard is administrative. Administrative.
And Corey is our winner.
Oh, Corey, congratulations. Very exciting. So $50 to the PATH store and a $100 gift card to Malibu 5-Star. Very exciting. The last kind of prize thing that we have for you guys this evening is it's actually going to be on Facebook. We got a wonderful donation from Monica at Rainbow Therapy. And for a chance to win these lovely leathers here, you guys have, I'm sure, seen them online or on Facebook somewhere, these rainbow, the color-coded stirrup leathers. We'd like to hear from you on the Region 11 Facebook page. We'll post about this particular event. And what we'd like to hear from you is just a comment about one thing that you'll take away from this evening's presentation. So one thing that you'll take with you, and we'll randomly select a winner from those comments, and we'll have those stirrup leathers shipped to you. So someone will be reaching out to you with that information. And once we've randomly selected that winner, so let us know on that Facebook post what you'll take away from that. And I do want to extend, again, a huge thank you to both Dr. Page and Kathy for being guest speakers this evening. for sharing their evening with us, for all of you for being here. I know it's a lot to ask for people to Zoom even after work hours. And thank you to the region leadership team, particularly Jen and Chrissy, for being my co-hosts for this event. We're super excited to have seen almost 50 of you guys here tonight. Prize winners, if you would email Jen, her email is up on the screen there, jen@giantstepswriting.org. If you'll send her an email, we'll get the logistics ironed out to get you your respective prizes. And again, this recording will be posted to the Region 11 YouTube channel. This little anchor, this cute anchor here, is our little profile picture there. So if you would check those out on YouTube, subscribe there. And Kathy brought up two things I want to throw out to you guys. The monthly networking calls that are happening in the region, Region 11 is doing those. This is our kind of our networking call for November, and we won't do one in December per the holiday season, but check back for those in January. We've been doing them monthly. I'm not sure if they'll continue with that frequency in 2021, but we have been doing those. And the Region 11 conference is going to be virtual, I believe, in 2021. So we're looking forward to seeing you all there in April. And that is all I have for everybody. So I want to again thank you all for your time, for joining us this evening, and wish you all a happy holiday season.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot for pulling this together.
Glad to see so many of you guys. Thanks for taking the time.